He's my husband, Rob. He puts up with me very well. Hello to those of you that we met last time we were here about a year ago, and nice to meet you to those we are meeting for the first time. As he said, I'm Nadine Kirkland. I am me, the founder of WTR Recovery Project. I'm a CPRS and a person in recovery from substance use disorder. I always choose to identify as me or a person in recovery instead of labels like alcoholic or addict, as my own little contribution to help break the stigma surrounding people with substance use issues like myself. Because that's what we are, people, human beings with thoughts, feelings, hopes, and dreams. I've personally had to deal with the consequences of addiction every single day of my life, first with my mother's and then my own, and as of tomorrow, I will be 28 months sober. First time since I was 12 years old I've been able to say that. So this is where my hopes and dreams come into play. I've always known that I wanted to help people, I just didn't know how to effectively do that, and that's how WTR Recovery Project was born. I was sitting in treatment, not my first time, but I'm doing my best to make it my last, and I kept seeing a lot of the women walk in with little to nothing but the clothes on their backs and maybe a purse or a small bag. They were nervous and scared just like I was walking in the door, and I just wanted to help them. I was very fortunate. I had the ability to bring the stuff I needed with me and to have the support of my family members to bring to me the things that I forgot or didn't even know I was going to need. But I quickly realized I was the exception and not the rule. Now, sure, there are the bougie treatment centers out there with the pools and the catered meals and the private rooms, but those aren't the places we serve. They don't need our help. The places that we serve take people on Medicaid, people who are homeless, people coming straight from jail or other institutions, and they more often than not come in with very few personal belongings, if any at all. And that's why the first welcome bags were created. They were small with not a lot in them, but they still made a big impact on those who received them. I'd make them up at night and give them to staff when everyone was in bed, and the staff had asked me if I wanted to give those bags to the ladies as they came in. And I was like, no. I didn't want them to know where the bags came from. Living in a communal situation with 16 other women, you don't want them to know you got a bunch of stuff in your room. You'll get real popular real fast, and that's not what I wanted. Honestly, even today, I'd prefer to stay behind the scenes and in the background, but that's not very helpful for fundraising, so here I am. WTR Recovery Project has grown into something bigger than I ever could have imagined. In just 2 short years, with the help of our board, volunteers, and supporters, we've truly made great things happen for the people that we serve, and I can't tell you enough how grateful I am for that. Our mission is to support those in early recovery from substance use disorder, and how we do that is by providing hope, dignity, and comfort in the form of bedding and hygiene and other essential items. Usually stuff that most of us wouldn't think twice about until we all of a sudden didn't have it and had no access to get it. When we first started, we focused our efforts on just women's locations because that's all we could handle at that time. But as of April of this year, we were able to expand our services to include everyone. We deal directly with small residential treatment centers, rehabs, transition, and sober living homes. We have 4 main programs now. Firstly, we have the Welcome Bag program. We brought one with us if anybody wants to take a look about what we put in it. This was our staple, our rock, the whole reason why the organization got started in the first place. And as of today, we have delivered 1,746 of these welcome bags since the start, and 1,063 this year alone. These bags include all the basic hygiene a person would need to get through the first couple days of treatment. Travel size shampoo, conditioner, toothbrush, list goes on. And it's not that the treatment centers won't provide these items to their clients, because they will. But like I said, we go for the smaller places, the ones that don't have as much funding. They can't just have these things sitting out in buckets and baskets for the clients to grab. The clients have to ask for that, which might not seem like a big deal to say, hey man, can I get a toothbrush, to us sitting here today. But when you've already done the hardest thing while going through the hardest part of your life, admitting and asking for help, Having to ask for such basic things like soap or deodorant can feel like an impossible mountain to climb. Feeling that vulnerable can make a person walk right back out the door, and I've seen that exact scenario play out. I know Katie saw it too when she was there with me. That's why the welcome bags are designed to be given during the intake process with each separate facility's guidelines in mind. The intake process is really hard. You're stripped of whatever belongings that you were given, that you brought with you. You are asked all kinds of questions. You're put under a lot of added stress that you were already going through. So these bags are something that's given to them as soon as they get in the door, and they have something to hang on to that is theirs. If they need a pen to write something down, if they need a piece of candy, there's candy in them. And it just, these bags give people a couple days to breathe and settle in before they have to start asking for things. It gives some dignity to what can feel like a very undignified moment. We also include, we also include other things like a journal or a pen, a reusable coffee cup with a lid, and this is usually the item that I get a lot of questions or looks about, but I ask you all to think about this for a second. How comfortable are you with walking into someone's house for the first time with a bunch of people that you've never met and going through their cabinets looking for a cup? First couple days that I was in the house, I wasn't even comfortable going into the kitchen, let alone poking around looking for something I needed. Having my own cup at that time would have been so helpful. It can ease a lot of anxiety. And the coffee cup is also the item that we get the most positive feedback about from the staff. Every place that we go to at one point in time or another has said, hey, we really appreciate you put those cups in there. Because also sometimes their dishes tend to disappear. You know, some people don't like to do dishes and just throw them away. Everything we put into these bags has a purpose. We don't put anything in the bag just to put it in the bag. Most of these items, we know they need to be in there through our own personal experiences or through other feedback. One of the most important things we put into the welcome bags is the handwritten card. These cards are all written out by people in recovery, and while welcoming them to the house, we acknowledge how hard it is and encourage them to keep going. We tell them they are worth it, and we thank them for making the choice to walk through those doors. We thank them because whether they were court-ordered, dropped off by the police, a family member asked them to do it, or they came on their own, they still made the choice to walk through those doors instead of walking up the road. None of the places we currently serve are lockdown type facilities, and these people could just choose to walk out the door at any time. So every day that someone chooses to stay in treatment is a win in our eyes. Our next program, the Quilts for Quitters program, had just started the last time we were here, and we've had time to refine it and really get it going. We've given a total of 141 of these bedding bags so far, and they are geared towards more the transition in sober living homes. These places are usually the next step after residential treatment. At this stage in a person's recovery, they are responsible for more of their own personal needs like bedding and groceries. But if you came into treatment with nothing and you haven't worked for 30, 60, 90 days, however long your program was, and you've got no family support, how are you supposed to provide these things for yourself? So each one of our Quilts for Quitters bags includes a small pack of hangers, set of towels, set of sheets, pillow, and a handmade quilt made by one of our awesome volunteers. All of these items, two of our quilters here with us tonight, all of these items are then put into a net laundry bag that can be used well later for your laundry. If we don't have enough quilts to fill an order for a location, we will use store-bought blankets. So on that note, if anybody likes to quilt, we're always looking for volunteers in that area. Our third program is for feminine hygiene products called Flow Forward. We were originally only providing these items as part of the requests we allowed the facilities to make, but we've since then decided to include them to every delivery to one of our women's or co-ed locations. Feminine hygiene products are always needed, and sometimes when we make that monthly phone call to check in with the staff, hey, how you doing? How many welcome bags do you need me to bring? How many Quilts for Quitters bags? They don't have time to go check the storeroom to see if they need the feminine hygiene or not. they've got a lot going on, and a lot of these places are understaffed. We don't include these items in the welcome bags because every woman's need in that area is just as unique as they are. And we strive to make sure that everything we distribute doesn't get wasted and it gets used. We make it our goal to make sure everything that we give to a facility does not end up in the trash just because somebody didn't use it. Lastly, we have the bus program, but it's not what you think. We don't give bus passes. But BUS, bras, underwear, and socks. All the things you don't want secondhand, but everyone needs, and they very rarely get donated. Yearly, we provide a bulk box of bras, socks, and underwear to each of our locations or group of locations, and we tailor it to the specific needs of the locations. You know, the men's location doesn't need bras, we don't send them. What we currently provide, though, is not enough. It is not nearly enough. And when I say bulk box, I'm talking like 100 pairs of socks and 50 to 75 pairs of underwear. It goes quick. So we are working towards trying to provide those items on a more regular basis because we get requests from our facilities all the time for this. And that's where something unique that we do that I haven't ran into a lot of other organizations that we work with that do this. We allow the facilities to make requests for the things that they may need, but may not necessarily be part of one of our programs. They know better the more immediate needs of their clients than we do. We talk to them once a month. They're with their clients every day. We've been asked and given such things like silverware, kitchen items, hats and gloves. We've even given a vacuum, which there's a story there I won't get into. Full-size hygiene products are most definitely a regular request for us because those bags, they're really only designed for the first couple days, and there are people that have the ability to call and be like, hey, I made it, I'm here, I followed through with what I said I was going to do, will you help me and bring me supplies? But there's a lot of people that don't have that support, so we try to do our best to make sure that no one goes without. I mean, everyone deserves to take a shower and feel clean. You know, I mentioned previously I'm a CPRS. Does anyone know what that means? Didn't think so. I've got the wrong crowd. I'm a certified peer recovery support, which means I've done the certification to be a recovery coach, but I'm not a clinician, I'm not a counselor or anything like that. I can hold space for the people going through the same things that I went through myself and be able to hold space for them because I can understand what's bothering them and what they're going through. I basically have the unique qualification of been there, done that. That lived experience with substance use and mental health issues, that is a requirement for this certification. I tell you about all that because earlier this year I had the opportunity to work at one of the residential treatment centers that we serve. And the time I spent working there really gave me some perspective to see things from both sides. I was able to experience what it was like truly wanting to do everything you can to help these people, but be limited by resource guidelines and protocol. So now I've been that pain in the butt client that wanted what I wanted when I wanted it, and the staff member who had to say no to someone who didn't understand why. When I got hired there, I set the boundary with them and with my supervisors and coworkers that the clients were not to know who I was or that I was involved with the project. I wanted to keep those things separate, and I also wanted to protect myself because if someone finds out you're the giving tree, they're going to keep asking, and I didn't have the heart to keep telling them no. That's why we do what we do. But I was still able to deliver the supplies to the main office, and my coworkers made sure the clients got the welcome bags and the things brought in for them, and nobody was the wiser except for I think maybe one guy figured it out. But the important part is I got to see the impact and helpfulness of the supplies we provide in real time. And I'm telling you, the things that we do and the supplies that we give, they really make a difference. Right now, we're currently delivering our services to 25 locations in Summit and surrounding counties, with another being added in January. 13 of those locations are located right here in Wayne County. So from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you having us back out again to give an update on our progress. We've had so much growth in the past year, it kind of makes my head spin to think about it. Some of the changes we've been able to make, I figured that was like 5-6 years down the road. So if anyone is interested, there are other options to help us outside of monetary donations, although like we love those. We've learned how to really stretch a dollar. We've got the cost of those welcome bags down to $13 a piece, and there's 26 items on average in each one. You know, so like we do love cash, checks, Zelle, PayPal. You can even create a Facebook fundraiser. We're set up for that. Speaking of Facebook, liking and following our page is a great free way to support us. The more we get our name out there, the better. It's a great way to keep up on what we are doing, any events we may be at. Every Wednesday, so tomorrow I'll be doing this, we do Wish List Wednesday, and we post an Amazon gift registry that we keep going. It's under the name Welcome Recovery Project. And I update this list weekly. I'm doing inventory constantly, making sure we know what we have and what we need. So if an item is tagged most needed in that list, it's something we are either almost out of or out of and really need. And we do this because buying from the registry makes things simple for us as well as the donor. Just click and buy, it gets sent directly to us. And because it's a list we created, you can be assured that everything on the list falls within the guidelines of the facilities we serve. Some of these places have really strict restrictions on what their clients can and cannot have. Like we can't take hand sanitizer. We can't have anything in an aerosol can, hairspray, body spray. We can't take none of that to these places. So, and we can always use more people that like to quilt. I know it's kind of a time-consuming hobby, but I've heard people enjoy it, not me personally. I can't quilt to save my life. All of the beds at these locations are typically twin size, but we do recommend making the quilts for a full-size bed if possible, because the clients get to keep these when they go home, and when they go home, they're most likely going to have a bigger bed. And lastly, sharing our flyer. If you need more flyers, we brought a bunch. Sharing our flyer or information with any other organizations that you would think that would like to know more about us would be amazing. Getting up here and doing these talks is really hard for me, but I'm glad to do it. I'm happy to do it for the groups willing to hear me speak. And I'd be willing to do it for a large group, small group. We can go Zoom, we can text. Anybody who wants to know more about us, like, please just shove our name at them. So thank you all again for having me here, and thank you for supporting the work that we do again. I appreciate every bit of this community's help in making recovery just a little bit more hopeful, a little more dignified, and a little more comfortable for the people who walk through those doors every single day, because recovery is not one size fits all. And I'm going to have my sister shut that down. We keep it only on me. We don't put anybody's pictures or anything on our Facebook without permission. And so once that